All right, everyone. The U.S. now has a major constitutional crisis going on. Link in the description, archived, of course. Judge Engelmayer, actually, I'm a noticer, so, let that be, has decided to injunct the ability of DOGE and its agents to access U.S. Treasury Department records. Now, I think that this is a dual scenario. Here's my analysis. Let's say that Donald Trump decides to act like Andrew Jackson. He acts effectively unilaterally and sends troops into the U.S. Treasury and secures the documents and so forth. He'll be called a tyrant, and they will try to remove him from office. If he does nothing, they're going to destroy all of those records, digital or in print, and they're going to try to shield the shenanigans that have been going on for a number of years. I think that they're trying to put Trump in a no-win scenario. If I had to advise him, I would say send in the goddamn troops. Literally send the U.S. Marines to the Treasury Department, ignore the order entirely, secure the documents, prevent them from being destroyed, secure the servers, secure the paperwork, secure everything, and then you get challenged in court later. Take them off site. Literally remove them, put them in a secure location, keep them away from the U.S. Treasury. The fact that DOGE is not technically part of the administration, the fact that it's not even a bureau, it's effectively a private group which is advisory in capacity, does not mean that Donald Trump does not have the ability to give them access to this paperwork. It appears, actually, that even the U.S. Treasury Secretary incoming is not allowed to access the paperwork for a temporary period of time. And you know what that means. It means that they need enough time to scrub the paperwork. They need enough time to get rid of any incriminating evidence. That's what's going on here. It's as plain as day, and they're trying to set a trap for Donald Trump in the process as well. I would say just act unilaterally. Literally send in a couple of squads of U.S. Marines and secure the U.S. Treasury building and make sure that you get access to everything. Send in forensics experts, etc., and make sure that these are people that are handpicked, that are very trustworthy. You've got a matter of days to do this before they remove all evidence of the money laundering, fraud, and so forth that probably has gone on at the U.S. Treasury. I would note also, it's very interesting. It only has to do with the U.S. Treasury Department. I wonder what was going on there. Defense Department? Okay, you can have access there. That's not a problem. State Department? Yeah, that's all right. All of these other bureaucrats and individuals within the Trump cabinet will have full access to all of the paperwork and so forth within their agencies. That's not a problem. I would also note that during the legal process, it appears that it was effectively just Democratic attorney generals filing with the court without any discovery or any notion towards, the potential defendants with regards to this motion. This seems like it's unconstitutional. I wonder why it seems that way. It's because it is. And there's a reason that they're doing this. You don't do this sort of thing, this most brazen attack on the U.S. Constitution and executive authority in general, because the U.S. Treasury is administered by the executive branch, not by the judiciary, not by the legislature. It's an executive branch sort of thing. You don't do this sort of thing unless you think that you're going to be caught having been naughty. And that's what's happening here. The writing is on the wall. It's very, very clear what's happening. I would urge Donald Trump to take immediate action. I would literally have ospreys flying above the U.S. Treasury. And if called a tyrant and people call for your removal, then what you should do is say, look, I had to secure the documentation. It's in a secure location. It's not being read by random people or anything like that. It's simply that we needed to make sure that the documentation would still actually be there. Don't worry, we can replace the servers once we forensically go through the last ones. What are you afraid of? What exactly are we going to find on them that would concern you? Because I guarantee that there's some concerning shit on there. The whole point of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, is to try to go through the receipts and tell the American people, it's an advisory committee effectively, tell the American people, hey, here's where this $50 million of your tax money went. Here's where the $20 million over there went. Here's where the $500 million went over here. That's the whole point. Well, if you can't get the records, then it's going to be very, very difficult to actually deliver it to the American people. That's why they're trying to shield it, because they know that there's been a lot of wasteful spending. It's probably in the tens of billions range outside of the Defense Department. Hell, with the Defense Department, it's in the hundreds of billions range. Some of it is going to be considered okay by the American people. Okay, you were studying, this particular bacterium, and you had meaningful research or something like that, and you're developing, some sort of antimicrobial, probably gets a pass. But if you're literally putting shrimp on a treadmill, that's the old joke. That was from 2000s, I believe, long ago, back when I was a kid. Probably the American people don't consider that to be a legitimate expenditure of taxpayer money. And so the Treasury, with all of its documentation of government spending, which is taxpayer spending, and all of these programs, etc., they're going after U.S. aid and so forth, there's a reason that they would be trying to utilize the judicial system to cock-block the administration from actually looking into it. Now, Trump can go in there himself, and he can look into this documentation. There's nothing that can stop him from doing so. He can simply declass the whole thing, and then it's like, well, these are just public information. I can do whatever I want. I don't think that's what he wants to do, though. What I think is the goal is to get DOGE to go in there and get some agents who have classified access to go through the paperwork and publicly disclose it. It's delegation. This is what Eisenhower used to do. For example, if something was very important and it was time specific, so it needed to be done quickly, he would handle it himself. If it was important, but it wasn't really time sensitive, he would delegate it. If it was relatively unimportant, but it was time sensitive, he'd delegate it to a lower level individual. And if it was neither of them, and he literally created the system and it's very efficient, then he would get to it, basically later on. That appears to be what Trump is doing. He's taking a leaf out of Dwight Eisenhower's book with regards to efficiency and workflow. I have a feeling that this was the result of several meetings with Elon Musk. He appears to be effectively involved with the same schema. But this is important. This is a major constitutional crisis. People are flipping out about it, but somehow they're still underestimating it when you think about it. This is an activistic judge, a liberal judge, effectively preventing members of the executive branch from actually managing a bureau that's managed by the executive branch. It doesn't matter if it's offsite. It doesn't matter if the Trump administration grants classified access to a third party, which happens to be privatized. That is within the purview. The judiciary has become too activistic. The judge should be impeached, should be immediately detained, remanded into custody, removed entirely, and Trump should ignore the order. Is it a trap? Yes. Should Trump wade into the trap anyway because of his unique capabilities? Yes. He should absolutely do that. Otherwise, you're going to end up in a situation where the judiciary can randomly say, well, the head of a federal bureau is not allowed to actually do their job. We're not allowing that because we disagree with your particular political ideology. That would not necessarily be the best precedent in the world. That's about all. Peace out.